Y'all, English 338. For this, what may be the final video of the semester, I thought I'd take you outside to my backyard. You see over this shoulder, you see a disc golf goal. And you see behind me, or maybe here, the chickens in my chicken coop. You see me wearing a strange and funny summer hat. This is the way I'm starting to feel, strange and funny at the end of the semester. Now, these videos have not been any work of art. They've just been my recording myself, kind of giving you some thoughts about the semester. But I wanted to start by saying this is a time when I think we all get reflective, and that's what I'll be talking about today, is me reflecting on the semester and me asking you to reflect on the semester. It's been a crazy semester of ups and downs. There has been tremendous loss in the country and in the world that continues to this day. I feel for people in Brazil and in India as they're going through what seems to be a huge surge because of the failures of their leaders to prepare for what inevitably will be a huge surge in COVID cases. At the same time, it seems like things are going better here, but that can't possibly help us understand the loss, both personally and to our families, the economic insecurity, the other kinds of things that we have felt this semester. Through it all, you all have persevered. And that's what I wanted to start with. I believe in all of you, and I think of you all on a regular basis. I've only gotten to know some of you because you've dropped by office hours, and I'd like to think that maybe that's because I've been clear. I may not have been clear though. In different kinds of ways, I've had to change the valence of the course, the direction that it's headed. I've changed some assignments very slightly, and I've tried to sort of focus in on what is most meaningful. So you'll see me today talking about some things that we can do in order to end the semester strong. But I first wanted to start by thanking you all for being in this course and for sticking with me. And what I can guarantee is if you have stuck with me the entire semester and done the majority of the work, you know you're going to pass. Passing is a D, but almost everybody, I think almost everybody will get a C- and above. What does that mean? Stop working? No, it doesn't mean that. It means that the grade that you get between a C- and an A+ is wholly and completely in your hands. You determine your fate over the next week. And I hope that you do prioritize this course in the remainder of the time you have, recognizing, of course, that none of this in the pandemic is okay. This teaching that we've done this semester is not good enough, and I'm eager. In fact, I'm dying to go back in the fall face-to-face so that we can have a more regular class and a more regular, not regular, but more regular experience. Okay, so what does this mean? It means I've received several emails just in terms of nuts and bolts about what students can do to pull their grades up. And I don't begrudge you thinking about your grades at this point. Some of you have talked about you've lost huge computer files. Connor Rose said he just was working on a thing and then suddenly it disappeared. Other people have said, oh my God, I have 10 projects to do before, finals week or something like that. You all are working tremendously hard and you're doing the best that you can. How do you do better in this class? Well, it starts with revising your projects. I've given you feedback on the rhetorical analysis essay, and I'm certainly willing to meet with you to talk about the rhetorical analysis essay. Sometimes it's just an hour worth of work in a Google Doc that will really grab your grade and thrust it higher into the 20s. But in other kinds of ways, I think you could attend to the digital story. There could be other things that you could do. Peer critiques are over. Why? Because some people will not revise and thus do not need a peer critique. The value of the peer critiques was in a writing process when people could use feedback, and it was timed to be that for people. What else can you do? I'd say the first priority for all of you has got to be work on your rhetorical analysis essay, meet with me, talk about your digital story. But there's other things you can do besides. Hit me up for ideas, but what I'd say right now is going back and doing some of those Google Currents posts that you have missed. We'll give you 2 more points for each one. But those take time. I usually make you watch a 20-minute video or something. Do you have that kind of time? And you have to get back into the readings in order to do it. You got to look at Finkelstein and Leon or the other things that we've read. You got to look at Schiappa and think about definitions. You've got to go back into Biljana Scott and think about framing, because I'm going to ask you questions about framing, and I'll ultimately grade you on how well you respond to those questions. So each one of those is 2 more points. Perusal, I don't know. I don't want to have to hunt for these things. If you want to go back in and annotate some of those readings, that's great. Good on you. But send me what you've done and I'll give you a few more points. I just, that kind of could be over. The best thing to do would be to make comments in Perusal that would show me that you are continuing to learn. So that is something that I'm definitely interested in you doing. Overall, the only thing that you cannot continue to work on are those peer critiques. Everything else is kind of fair game, but I would hit me up with an email to ask me more questions about this. I've gotten several emails, 2 out of 60 students about this. Now, what are we talking about here? Reflection. Okay, I'm reflecting on this semester and it seems like we still got some good things done. We spent 15 weeks thinking about rhetoric as persuasion and the effectiveness of certain kinds of messages, whether they come in word form or image form. The visuals, the music, the words all contribute to our sense of rhetoric. And when something is rhetorically effective, we may not use that language, but we certainly know it. When we feel persuaded by something, we have a bodily reaction to that. That's very much what Dana Cloud was talking about at the end of the semester when she was talking about embodiment, the embodiment of a message, a political message. The best thing you can do to change how your digital story is received by me or by other people is to maybe change the embodiment of it, the way that you tell stories, the way that you connect to your audience, the way the wind keeps blowing and we see it on video. The wind was blowing like crazy over the last couple of days. And of course, my wife and I have already packed our go bags. We are ready to flee, but this is not PTSD or anything like that. Our house is in a part of Chico where, we just really don't think our house is ever going to catch on fire. However, the entire area is under a fire warning almost every weekend or certain parts of each month. So I'm living in an environment that is insecure, as maybe you all are as well. There's already been some fire risk in Sonoma and other places. So what am I asking you to do with this reflection? Well, let me talk about that, and then let me talk about the deadlines, because everything is due in 1 week. Uno semana. Semaine in French. We need to have everything in by next Friday. So what does that mean? I am going once again to share my screen. Here we are. So what I've got right here is a screen that shows me the current communities that I am a member of. You'll see English 338.01, and I'll take you into that site right now. I hope it comes up rather quickly. What you will see overall down here is the place where I want you to post links to assignments that I should regrade. For one thing or another, for one reason or another, you have asked that I look once again at your rhetorical analysis essay or your digital story. I would like you to post it here in post links to assignments I should reread or rescore. Now, what else do I have to say? Here is the reflection. Then I'll talk about where we post that. Seems like I got to build up a thing for course reflection. Be on the lookout for that in the next day or so. What am I talking about in terms of a semester reflection? First and foremost, this is not your course. This is not your assignment reflection. The digital reflection on the digital story that I asked everyone to do was an assignment posted in posts where you would take 2 terms from success or from Dana Cloud's Big 5 and say, here's how I tried to achieve that in my digital story project. Many of you actually in section 1 did that. Few of you in section 2 did that. I don't know why there is that difference. But please get that in as well, because it helps me understand your project. What are we talking about? We're talking about the entire semester. And like I said right here, as a writing teacher, one of the things I enjoy most is hearing people talk about what they've learned in a course. I literally love hearing about what students have come, what people have come to understand about writing, about rhetoric, and about the possibilities for changing the world through writing and rhetoric. So that's what I'm asking right here. What have you learned about rhetoric in this course? That is, what new insights have you developed about persuasion in general, arguments about environmental issues in particular, or the uses and perils of communicating in the public sphere about sustainability? Those of you who are sustainable manufacturing majors know that sometimes you're looked at as the tree-hugging liberals of the engineering set, and maybe that doesn't make you feel good. But you know you are doing the right thing when you are trying to work with LEED specifications and make our building materials cleaner and more sustainable. It starts there. It starts with when we have disagreements on public policy with people in our lives, or when we run into ideological differences in our different communities. So to answer this question, please think back. Think back to all your perusal comments and questions, all of the currents posts that you've done, your rhetorical analysis paper and the insights that you reached in that paper, and then finally the digital story that you built. You know, those are the kinds of things that we've been doing all semester. And in each of those things, I was asking you to respond to or analyze or think through certain kinds of questions related to rhetoric. Then think forward. Reflection is not just looking back, it's also looking forward. Forward to what? Forward to graduation, which might be in 2 weeks. For some of you, it is in 2 weeks. Or to your perhaps near or distant future. When you graduate, you go out into the world, you get a job, you do something else. You're going to have a chance to be persuasive in public spheres in which important issues are debated and decisions are reached. So as we face those challenges of an uncertain world related to COVID-19, racism, inequality, climate change, and so on, the rampant effects of out of control extractive capitalism, what would you say your role is in those conversations? And how would it be that you can use rhetoric to create a better future for yourself, for your family, for your friends, for your communities? Okay, so that's kind of cool. It's not an academic essay here, people. It's you rapping to me about things you think are important. It's you talking to me in any way, shape, or form that you would like to, but making it meaningful and creative is important to me. If you write one paragraph saying, I learned a lot in this course and you're a great teacher, the end, I'm going to be mad at you. Mad. I will take it out on your grade. I had a mentor who used to say she reserved 10% of everybody's grade for love and hate. Now, I don't think that's allowed anymore. There's just it's a lawsuit waiting to happen. So I don't do that. But you better believe I'm looking at these things and I'm saying, if I'm going to give you 15% of your final grade for telling me what you learned, you'd better tell me in detail. And you'd better make it meaningful. Doesn't need to have a thesis statement, doesn't need to have a claim or an argument, but needs to have support. Needs to have, okay, here's what I learned and how I learned it. Okay, here's what I'm taking away from this course. Let me give you examples. That's what I'm trying to do. One thing, like I say right here, please don't include comments about my teaching or this class. You had a chance to do that. It was your SETs. I really want you to focus on yourself and your learning. Go for self. So what does that mean? It works best as a Google Doc, but platforms, I'm open. You could just shoot me a talking head video and share with me the link in Google Drive or in YouTube or something else like that. You could make for me some kind of infographic that tells me how you have learned in this course and what you have learned. You could make me you could just surprise me with some kind of creative, weird thing and send it to me via email if it won't fit on Google Currents. But that's what I'd like you to do. And remember, if you've made it this far and you've done most or all of the assignments, you're going to pass the class. It takes a D to pass this class because it is not your first writing course or your last writing course. That is the GWAR course that you take in your major. So you can get a D and be fine, but nobody wants a D. And frankly, if you've made it this far, the wind is blowing the computer all around. I hope you know that I'm really asking, what grade do you want between a C minus and an A plus? Tell me what you've learned and your grade will change by 15 points. And man, that'll help you. It may even change what you feel you need to do in terms of your big two final assignments, that rhetorical analysis essay and the digital story. So that means I understand where you are. The nuts and bolts of this is that this course is out of 100 and there's 15 points remaining. So devote yourself to those 15 points. That reflection is worth a lot, more than half of one of the big projects that we've done. So make it meaningful, make it represent what you've done in this class. And what does that mean? Take a look at your grade in Blackboard. If there's something wrong, please tell me and document how it's wrong, and I'll just give you those points. But another thing to consider is if you've got an 80 right now, you're in fine shape because you're immediately going to get a 95, and I'm going to call it an A. We don't give A pluses at Chico State, interestingly enough. I wish we could. You got a 70, that's a solid B. Look at that, 70 points plus 15 is 85. Even I can do that math. 85, good. If you got a 60, you've suddenly got a 75, and cool, but who wants a C? Do you want more than a C? Then revise, then do more, take some time and get that stuff done. If you've got a 30, contact me. Let's talk, let's Zoom. If you've got a 10, I don't know. I don't know that there's anybody who's got 10. We're all doing okay. But if you've made it this far, you're watching this video, you're going to pass. It's going to be fine. So take the fear out of your thinking. Fear is the mind killer, as the book Dune by not L. Ron Hubbard. The book Dune says, I forget the guy's name who wrote it, but I love that book. Fear is the mind killer. Take fear out of the equation because it's the mind killer. Focus in on what you've learned and reflect genuinely on what you've learned in this course. And I think we're all going to be fine. But use my time and your time over this week in order to get things done. Everything is due Monday. Monday, not Wednesday of next week and not Friday, because I'm going to be cranking through this stuff and I want to turn in grades. I want to give you what you want, but you must help me. Help me help you. End of the semester stuff right here. So that's what I'm talking about. If you have any other questions about stuff to finish off the semester, then please let me know. Let me help you. Schedule a Zoom meeting with me. Calendly should be back up now. It was down. This is Monday at 2:09 p.m., Monday, May 10th. This morning it was down for some reason, but it's back up now. Okay, so I've had a wonderful time with you this semester. This will probably be my last video. Email me if you have questions. Thank you.